Yes, folks, welcome back. It's been a while, buzzing for the podcast return and absolutely delighted to have a good friend of mine now in Paul Reid, ex Dundee United, head of commercial, Arbroath FC, man of many voices as well. How are you, Paul?
I'm good, Ross. Good to hear from you as well. Always good to see you as well. So it's
I know,
good.
that's it.
Looking forward to this.
That's it. Seen that message come through from that ugly ginger boy, and I don't know what to speak to
Not at
him
all.
about.
Not at all.
That's
Always got
it.
time
No.
for you, mate. Always got time
No,
for you.
no, I appreciate it. No, as I say, we've been working on a project together for a wee while now, so we'll cover that in the last sort of
Yeah.
wee bit of the podcast. But it'd be quite important to sort of go back and talk about your career and childhood and things like that, if that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect.
I mean, born in Dundee, raised Carnoustie. So, and from a young age, it was kind of like, I love football. My two brothers were more rugby orientated and tried to get me into that. But I enjoyed the rugby and things, but I was always pulled back to football. And the group of friends I was with as well were all footballers. My dad was big into football, and dad was a massive United supporter. So he kind of pushed me more towards was football. Went for a trial at the local club. I went in, absolutely like half three or four of the boys straight away. And the manager's like, "You're a goalie," and I was like, "All right, no bother." And then the rest was history. So became a goalie, and it was really much, played to a decent standard. I think I was always, technically I was very, very good as a goalkeeper. Not to blow my own trouble. I knew I was very good, but the mental side of the game probably let me down in terms of I didn't know my capabilities and I probably didn't have much sort of confidence in myself, and that probably let me down when I got older and went on to play with Arbroath and I had trials with Dundee and things like that, and that's probably where that I got the better of me. But it helped me later on in life because I realised what I was doing wrong mentally at that point to then try and use the sort of mental toughness in other ways to get on in life. So did that. I wasn't particularly great at school. Teachers always, if you go through my school reports, doesn't listen, always talking about football, doesn't listen, always wants to talk about sport, blah, blah, blah. And from there, I was kind of like you know, I, when I look back now, my daughter's going through her exams at the moment, and that's sort of I look back now and I think, regrets were that I didn't really like stick in. But what I did try and do was when I left school was try and channel what I thought I was good at to try and get me on in life, and it was getting into the likes of football and the football environment, but doing the speaking and things. So really from there, that's what I did. I left school and I was playing for Arbroath part time, but at the time we went in and we were a youth team that were in, and there was obviously the first team. And what they tried to do was it was kind of going into pro youth, so it was kind of like half the day you were down at Gayfield training, and then there was other half the day you go to Angus College and things. So I went and did painting and decorating. I got offered an apprenticeship there, doing that with a guy in Arbroath, and it went well for two sort of maybe a year and a half. And then with after the speaking coming in and play, I got the opportunity to speak at a Dundee United dinner, and then as it went on, I started to forge more ties with Dundee United, and then they got the opportunity to go to United. But yeah, the family side of things, brilliant. I've got two big brothers and a big sister, so I was the youngest, kind of spoilt. I was able to get on in life with the I feel the tools that I was given, to try and push me on. And I've been lucky enough that it's taken me a long way to meet a lot of people, entertain a lot of people that I would never have dreamt of being able to meet in the past, and then obviously get a career in football. It doesn't necessarily, by playing, but I've been 25 years in Scottish football now. On the other side of the thing, I really enjoy that.
Yeah, it's the next best thing as well, and a lot of people would give their right arm to be involved in football in some way, shape, or form, the way that you have been, where you've worked under good managers at United, a couple of good managers at Arbroath as well. So you said that your dad was a United fan. Did he take you along to Tannadice as a kid?
Yeah. I mean, I was going to Tannadice from a young age. Anyway, my dad worked offshore, so when he couldn't take me, one of his pals used to take me up, and I had a season ticket there. So I'd been probably caught the tail end of the sort of glory years under Jim, where it was, the UEFA Cup final and things was just before kind of started going. I was kind of more the sort of start of the 90s. And then the sort of under Ivan Golak, and then towards like Tommy McLean, Paul Sturrock, and then before I went on. So yeah, I would always have dreamt going when I was at school. I had a lot of mates that were Dundee United supporters and things. So to have played for the club or been able to have that ability to play for a club like that, it would have been great. But I didn't have that. But I had the next best thing where I was, part of the club, and part of the the staff that was able to help shape the club in a certain way and support the manager. And that's I've been lucky at that over my career that's the type of thing that I've been able to do. So you can not necessarily you're able to affect what goes on the pitch, but you can do a lot off the pitch to help the guys go on the pitch. And I was lucky enough to be able to do that, and I had a lot of good times there, some bad times as well, but you're going to have that in 22 years.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, I'm guessing that at one point you then had to make a choice on whether you wanted to play football or you wanted to go and do the after dinner speaking. I'm guessing you made that choice fairly early on because you were on only an excuse from quite a young age as well.
Yeah, so what happened with there was I was pretty much I got to a junction because I'd started working, doing stuff for Dundee United on a Saturday. I was still playing for Arbroath, and then out of the blue, one afternoon I got a phone call from the producer of Only Excuse, which was Phil Differ. So I was 17 at the time, and he phoned me up and he said, "Well, look, quite a few people had mentioned me to him, that I was able to do the impressions. I wasn't doing probably so much of the sportsman's dinners at that point, but it was more like I'd phoned into off the ball one day. They were having an impressions competition, and it was in there, and I won that. Chick Young had done something with me. It was at a boys' club presentation, so he mentioned, I said, "Look, I've been told about you and things." So at that point, I was doing that, and then I was starting to get the snowball. People wanted me to do after the speaking as well, and there's only 7 days in a week, so it was like, I've got to try and do what I think's right going forward. So it's like 18 coming up for, and I was thinking, well, I need to start earning money as well. I can't rely on mum and dad to bail me out every time I need to do something or whatever. And so I made the decision I was going to go to United. So I had to obviously tell the boss at the painting and decorating at that point that after a year and a half that I was leaving to do that. I had to tell Arbroath that I'd been offered a year with them at the time, and I had to tell them that I was quitting that. But on the flip side of that, I had that I was going to Dundee United, and I was also getting an opportunity to go on primetime TV on Hogmanay, which is something as a kid I just loved. Like Scotch and Rye, Ramsay Nesbitt, Only an Excuse was the things that were on every Hogmanay, and so I went and did an audition for Only an Excuse, and they came back and said, yeah, we want you on the show. So within 3 weeks after that, it was a bit of a whirlwind. Had left Arbroath, had left an apprenticeship, but I was working at United, and I had this opportunity to go on such a well-established show. And at that point, it was probably at its peak, on the excuse. Just on the turn of the millennium, that was when and I got the opportunity to do that. And it was just, for an 18-year-old, it was just like frightening, just like incredible to be honest with you, going there. And I actually remember I had to meet Jonathan Watson the day before we were filming, and I took it totally in my stride. It was like, oh, it's Jonathan Watson, and I didn't really, he was a great guy, nice guy to speak to, and had a bit of crack. But then the next day, I went in, and he'd been in makeup, and he was actually dressed up as Chit Young, and that's when I got the fear, because he was like dressed as Chit. Oh, like, this is real now, because you actually see him as what you'd see them with that. So
I know he does a cracking Chit Young impression, but at least it wasn't Frank McAvenny or something. That would have been
no,
worse.
well, it was actually funny because at the time, I went on an excuse that United had signed a lot of guys from South America, like Hondurans and things like that. There was a bit where they did a spoof with what happened to the Honduran guys, the South Americans, when they left Dundee United, and it was the guys playing panpipes outside the Forge in Glasgow, and they had on the big sombreros, and then they had on these like the big top. But yeah, I had a great time doing that. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, definitely. It sounds amazing, actually. I've always wondered what Only an Excuse. Is it like, do they take like months to film it? Or is it just
No,
like a sort of wee section of the
yeah, and
year?
so no, so what they did with myself, it's actually is that you come in and it's like 2 days filming, and the first day is in the studio, which was actually not far from Hill in Glasgow, and you do all the stuff, you did all the stuff there with that's usually the beginning of December, and then after you've done that day, you then do the next day on location, which at that time it was everyone was getting filmed at Broadwood Clyde Stadium, so everyone was there. So you did one day there, and then you did one day there, and it's like literally bang, 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 and you're as soon as you've done your like scene that you're in, you straight away rip off the clothes you're on and that go into the next thing. So it's like really like regimental, and then they have a pickup day probably about 2 or 3 weeks later, because at that point as well there wasn't a transfer window. So if things happen that you're involved in, something happens in football that changes, they have another day where you pick off from that. So when I did it at the time, somebody had done this skit about somebody that plays for Rangers, and then but he'd subsequently been transferred in the week after, so they had to take that out and put something else in. And then after they've done all that, you have a day at the BBC in Glasgow where they actually show the finished thing to an audience, to allow the audience to put the canned laughter into it. So they show it to live audience, so they get the laughter, and then after that it's done. So it's pretty boom, 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 And that was a big thing for me, because I hadn't been in anything like that in my life before, so I never knew that, how a TV show was put together or anything like that. I'd literally went from doing impressions in my bedroom and to my mates at school to bang, I'm on that TV program. So, and the hotel that I was in, it was literally like the script was shoved under the door for me, and I had to learn it that night and for the next day and things. And for a trained actor, it probably comes easier. For me at that time, it was a bit, but it was great. And it's something I can always say. Like and the night that I went live, like all my mates were around, my mum and dad at that house. We all sat and watched it, like live on TV, because that's all you did at that time. It's like you watch things there and then, and it was great.
Days before Twitter, where you get absolutely slagged now.
No, but I mean, being totally honest, that's one of the reasons I probably stepped back as well from it, because when I went, I was doing stuff probably fast forward a wee bit, but I was doing stuff in like 2013 with self and Dan Farley. It was great, but the harsh side of it was Twitter and Facebook, and Darren and with me, were so different in terms of how like it did not affect him one bit. Somebody would say something negative, it was just like water off the duck's back to him. I don't care, I know I'm good. Whereas I kind of, you get 100 comments that would say, "Oh, that was excellent." You get one that would say, "Oh, that was garbage," and that was the one that you clung on, and that was probably what I couldn't cope with. And whereas at that time, with Only Excuse, there was nothing like that at all. So, it was you only knew if it was good, if you were told it was good. But my granny and granddad were still around at that point, so they were kind of my Twitter. They would tell me, they would be honest and say, "No, that was garbage. It was garbage." But fortunately, it was all right, you know.
Oh, I'm sure they would have been proud of you, though. That would
Uh,
have been amazing. It must have been an amazing feeling having all your family round to watch
aye,
you on telly.
and
It's such a young boy as well.
yeah, I think the thing is like it's like things that you'll always remember, and I always remember like you know, we went to had all the family like and my mum and dad and all my mates round, and you're sitting there, and then it's going out, and then you're getting phone calls after it and stuff like that. It was mind boggling considering you I'm not an actor, I'm not part of like I'm not like on TV and then I've got the opportunity on a show that was so well watched at that point, and you're getting millions at that point back then to watch something like that. So it was great.
I know you briefly touched on there about how you done impressions to your mates at school. Was it just folk that you've seen on telly? Was it your teachers, or who was it that you were doing impressions of?
About both. It was kind of like there there was so many like opportunities to do like teachers at school, because like, particularly when you're in high school, there's so many teachers, and and there was a few good ones that you could do, and or the pupils in the class and that loved like you hearing you do it, and some of the teachers even knew I did them and actually got me up to do them themselves. Um,
Oh, brilliant.
that for me was like that was me was like I started thinking, yeah, you could do something with this. And then only excuse was on as well, so you were actually being able to see the potential of doing guys within Scottish football, and there was a market for that, and that's probably where the chance to go on sort of after the speaking circuit came about, because you were given the opportunity to, because people saw that as something that they would want to be entertained by. So it worked really well. So it was really about both, but I loved I loved like comedy, and I loved Scottish comedy in particular. Ramsay Nesbitt's Scotch and Rye City Lights, and then like Chewing the Fat and all these things. I love all that sort of stuff. So I knew there was something that if I could get into and be a part of it, would be great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
and again,
I'm
that
just going to
came.
get myself a bit more comfy just before we continue with the
Oh
United talk.
no, that was going so well too. I was going so
No,
well too.
it has to be done. We're not talking about Dundee United without me supporting the badge here.
No, well, no,
So,
that was going well. It
yeah.
was going well. I'll let you off. See you.
That's it. I know that's it. So obviously you started in at United. Did you have any sort of commercial background before you
No,
went to United?
I,
Did you have any aspirations to go into business or anything
nah,
like that?
not at all. It was like where the wind took me, really, because Um, I did I did a boys' club presentation in Arbroath it was, and one of the guys it was actually Jamie Dolan, guy who played for United. He's unfortunately passed away now. He played for Motherwell, a few others, and he was there to present prizes. So one of the other guys that was along with him from United had actually seen me there, and I was just there to do a few voices for the boys getting their prizes and that. And the boy said, would you want to come and do this at a dinner for us? So the next thing I'm at a Dundee United dinner, and all the players are there. I remember guys like Stephen Thompson, Craig Easton, and Alan Callum, and guys like that, and they were all there. And I got up to do there, and and people were like really, well, that's great. Pat went on the back, and the players were giving saying, "Oh, that was brilliant! That you need to come and do that more." And then the commercial manager at the time, United, came and said to me, "Would you like to do this on a match day and then the suites just go around and entertain them and that?" I was like, "Aye, all right." No fear at that age, so it was just like, "Yeah, no bother." So there's me walking about Tannadice with literally an amp and a microphone, walking into the suite while everyone's eating their dinner, plugging it in. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, bang, do it. So I did that for a while, and then I went on holiday with my mates, and then I had a message when I got home, because again it's just before the mobile phone. My mum said, "Oh, Bill from Dundee United's been on the phone to you. Do you phone him back?" So I phoned him back, and then he says, "Are you able to come up to Paradise?" I was like, "Yeah." And he offered me a job, and then and it was at that point it was to be the commercial assistant at the club. So just really working with the sales guys and the commercial there. I was doing everything from stock taking the drink in the bars taking copy to out to people, and it shows you how far like and how much is going on. Because I'll tell you an example of what I had to do at United. You signed a player back then, and like now you sign a player and it's on Twitter in 30 seconds. What I used to have to do was the girl photographer used to take the photo. She would of the player signing. She would then give me the spool. I'd run down to the city centre, get the 30 minutes turnaround Jess up with there, get the photos developed. I'd have to take the photos back to Tannadice, get them scanned in, and then they would go back on. So that was like shows you the sort of thing back then. And again with that, there was never. I didn't think, oh, I'm going to be here for as long as I was. It was, but just over time, I grew into the position and grew into a different position at the club, and I went through those. It's not that I would say it was all like the trajectory was like both I was on like that. There was hard times as well, and times where I was 20, 21. I was thinking, I'm getting the opportunity to do this and that with the speaking and things as well, and opportunities came up and that. But I remained at United because I'd say at that point, I needed to earn money as well. And it was fine just doing the voices here and there, but and 22 years later, I was still there. But I'd made my way up to in charge of the department that I came in as a junior. So yeah, it was great. I was proud of what I did there.
Yeah, and did you have a lot of sort of big influences when you were at United? Was there people that you sort of looked up to? Obviously,
Yeah,
Jim McLean, I'm guessing, would probably be one.
Yeah, you mentioned it, was it? He was chairman of the club when I first started there, and he had a perception amongst probably Scottish football being dour, and that he wasn't like that at all, and he was a very direct guy. He had a nasty streak, but you only saw that if you did something wrong. So at that point, you had to learn early that you had to try and do everything as good as you could, or you would feel the wrath of them. But there was certainly him, my boss at the time, brought me in. He's now Provost of Dundee. Paul Campbell, he was another one that again was very very patient with me as well, because there was probably times when I was early on at United where I probably didn't show the potential that they were looking for, but he stuck with me, and as I matured and got older, I actually grew into it more. So so he was very much there, and there's a lot of people sadly that are not with us now. That over the 22 years I was there, that I learnt from, enjoyed working with, and just there's a lot of brilliant people there that helped me get to where I was. And I didn't get there on my own. I got there because I surrounded myself with the right people, and people I trusted, and good people, and that's the way I've kind of ran my life. Whether it be my wife, my mum and dad, my brothers and sisters and family, and that there, I've surrounded myself with people that I know that 100% trust with my life, and I've got that with friends and colleagues and that, and you've got that, you don't go far wrong. After Jim McLean left, I took Jim leaving, difficult because of who he was and what he was. But then Eddie came in, and Eddie was a total different character to Jim in terms of the way he ran the club. But you learnt a different way of him from what you'd learnt of Jim, and then but right through that time, it was like a family club, and everyone had time for each other and things. So yeah, it was a great time. Saw a lot of highs. Winning the Scottish Cup in 2010, to the lows of being relegated in 2016. So these things, if you're going to make you stronger, and we came back strong, and it's like United now, they've gone down again, but they're looking stronger, and they look like they're getting back to the way that they were a few years ago. But yeah, the experiences I had there were great, and the bad experiences, and I did have a few, which I'm not scared to admit. I did have a few bad ones, but it's making me who I am today, and you need those experiences to really live your life.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's I think the two Dundee clubs, they're far too bigger clubs to be yo-yo teams, because that's what they have been over the last decade, 15 years, where Dundee were down in the second tier for such a long time, and they shouldn't have been. And numerous managers just not getting promoted, and then they come up eventually, and then they go back down again. It's just, and the two teams that they're far too big a sides to be doing that. And
definitely. Gayfield, it's like you got 3,000, 4,000 travelling supporters, and that's Dundee as well as United coming, and it's like it's the clubs that they are Premier League clubs, and you have, but you can't just be in the Premier League on reputation. You're in the Premier League because you've got to do something. There's a lot of clubs at the moment that are in that same boat. Dunfermline, Falkirks, Inverness. There's a lot of teams like that you probably think with the infrastructures that they have, they should be in the Premier League. But at the same time, you've got to earn the right. And as United are finding this year, they're not having it their own way. They've got Wraith Rovers really like on their coattails because it's as I know, I've seen it's a tough league to get out of.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a wee smidgen easier now because we've got the playoffs, but it's still a difficult league to get out of. Definitely. So
definitely.
Yeah, so 15 managers you worked under at United. So which one did you work closest with, do you think?
Being honest with you, again, probably it goes back down to as I was maturing, and when Brewster came in, I'd met my wife and was married and things like that. So that probably at that point was when he came in. I knew Craig prior to him being the manager, so I was really able to hit the ground running with him. Craig came in and changed a lot of stuff that probably he didn't get the credit for because you just see what's happening on the pitch. But Craig came in and brought in the training ground over at St Andrews. He brought to the club players like Craig Conway, who the rest is history on him, became, scoring 2 goals in a cup final. Noel Hunt, Christian Calvinus, boys like that. He brought all these guys in. There were different type of players that United never had. And he brought me into kind of the inner circle and did really well. And then Craig left, and then we had a period with like Craig Levine and Peter Houston again with that unbelievable manager. Levine, like just such a knowledgeable type of guy. And then after Housty there, Jackie McNamara came in. Jackie was unbelievable. Jackie really he had a strong circle of trust of people, and if you were in that, you knew you were in that, and you were able to. It made you feel good, but it also you wanted to do a lot of stuff for him and that. And I was fortunate enough that I was one of the guys that was in that circle, and you really helped. And again with that, we were in 2 cup finals back to back. Unfortunately, we lost them, but to get to a cup final, you want to be doing something right, no matter if you win it or not. So, experiences with them all. Ray McKinnon come in. Again, I thought Ray was excellent man management. They've all had something. To become a manager of Dundee United, you don't get the job to be manager of Dundee United just by chance. You get the job there because you've earned it and you've got something special. And all the guys that I certainly worked with at the time, in different ways, had something special about them. So but to answer your question, I'd probably Jackie or Craig Brewster, the two of them, I thought probably got on with the best with all these guys.
Yeah, no, I've vivid memory of Jackie McNamara's Dundee United side doing pretty damn well. I remember there was a period there where you had the youngsters coming through, if I remember rightly. Some of the youngsters that sort of golden age of a youth team that came through was just scary.
It was ridiculous. Guys, Robertson, Gold, Soutar, Armstrong. There were to have, or Gary Mackay, Stephen, another one, but to have 1 or 2 of these players, but for them all to come through in the one go. And it's so hard for the club to keep these boys because when you've got other clubs knocking on your door, and it's just so hard to keep. And you knew that you were only going to have these guys for a confined space of time. she had to try and strike while the iron was hot with him and that. And that season, I remember going down to Motherwell. We beat Motherwell 4-0, and it was probably the best away performance I'd ever seen by a Dundee United side in my time there. Because it wasn't just 4-0, it was the dominance of the team, and it was the maturity of these guys, Gold, Soutars, Robertson, that were in there. But again, with that, special to be part of that, yeah.
It was some team anyway, that's for sure.
Yeah. But that was the thing is as well, when you talk about that, and I do it on the other side of the road, you talk about Dundee, when we're on one side of the road and you're in envy, because at that point it was like Ketspire and Ravenelli and Ramsay and all these guys and that again, I remember being out in Dundee even like on like Saturday night, and you're in like a bar and stuff like that, and you're looking around and there's like Ravenelli and Ketspire standing at the end of the bar. It's like this is mad. This is just madness. This is happening. But again, with that, Dundee had to embrace that as long as they could, because it wasn't going to last forever. But
yeah, and that was the thing. We paid the consequence in the end of that one, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know, but at the time, seeing guys like that playing for Dundee was just
and that's the thing. That's the thing. Fans still speak about it to this day as well. So I mean, although it ended badly, it's still something fans always speak about. We still sing about Caballero away games and all the rest of it. And it's just Caniggia as well. We sang Caniggia, you sang Billy Dodds and all that kind of stuff.
That as well. The fact that you're seeing these guys playing and they're playing 200 yards for your stadium, and you're like, why can't some of these guys be here? But good times.
Yeah, no. So obviously, 22 years at Tannadice. You can't go any further without telling me the story that you've told me about the signing.
Nick Hogan. All right, I'll try and keep it quick. Right. So, we're playing Eddie Thompson. I used to take Eddie up to his hospital appointments and pick him up in the morning, because I was coming in from Carnoustie and he lived in Brotty Ferry. Eddie used to tell you like what was going on and stuff. So we're driving in one day and he says, we're needing another goalkeeper. The manager's desperate to get a goalkeeper in, because we were down to one fit goalie, and then the other one was one of the youth kids. So I'd been playing FIFA on my computer the night before and doing all the transfers and that, and I knew there was a free transfer going about of Nick Colgan, who used to play for Hibs. You don't remember Nick Colgan? He used to play for Hibs. So he was with Barnsley at the time, but he was available on a free or on a loan, because it came up on Camp Manager and FIFA. So I says to Eddie when I said, try a goalie. She said, I says to him, hey, what about Nick Colgan? He used to play for Hibs, Irish internationalist and that. Oh, right, I'll mention it to the manager. So about 2 hours later, we're in Tannadice, and I got a phone call, and Eddie's phoned to my desk. He's like, Paul, could you come along to my office? And I was like, yeah, no bother. So I went in, him and Ian McCall were sitting there, and Eddie's like, right, Paul, tell Ian about the goalkeeper you mentioned and that. And I said, I was like, all right, okay. This has come from FIFA, by the way. This has come from the game, FIFA. I said, Nick Colgan. All right, yeah. I know, I think I know his agent. Aye, all right, no problem. Just never got any more of it. And then about 2-3 hours after that, my boss comes in and says, right, we need to prepare the press room. We've got a press conference first thing in the morning. And I was like, all right, no bother. And I said, who is it? And he says, Nick Colgan. And I'm thinking, what? And he says, I was signing Nick Colgan on loan to the end of the season from Barnsley. And I'm thinking, right, this has come from me playing FIFA with my mates, right? So I'm thinking, so anyway, Colgan comes up. We play Dundee on the Saturday, and this is the Friday. And then we've got Rangers in the CIS Cup semi-final at Hampden on the Tuesday. So Colgan comes up, straight into the team. He's playing. We get beat 3-0 by Dundee on the Saturday, and then we get beat 7-1 by Rangers on the Tuesday. Right? So he shipped 10 goals, right? So I picked Eddie up on the Wednesday morning, and I said, Eddie took us at the car and says, yeah, Paul, see the scouting of players, just leave that to the professionals. So I was no bother. So the goalie I brought in shipped 10 goals in 2 games. But yeah, it was actually a very good goal, to be fair, but just not wrong time, wrong place, unfortunately, for that to be. So
that's the
yeah, that
skirting
was
row
my
started
scouting
and
career.
finished.
That was my scouting career wrecked.
Aye, oh God. I remember you told, I've only been in the car with you a couple of times, and that was one of the stories you told me in the car.
It was
And
just
it's
bizarre
just
because it was just like a throwaway comment in the car, and the next thing we're signing him, and I was
next
going,
thing he's
oh,
turned up at Tannadice.
and this is on my head. This is on my head. If this doesn't work, and it didn't work, and it was just like, oh my, he went on to become like the best goalie ever for the club. I would have been like telling everyone, but it's, I kind of buried it until you've reminded me of that now.
Sorry about that, mate. Sorry about
No,
that. Aye, so moving on from Dundee United, you then went to Arbroath. Now,
yeah,
was this? Were you? Did you know you were leaving Dundee United, or was this
yeah.
you got offered a role by
I'd,
Arbroath? Or?
I'd kind of made peace that I was going to leave United. I'd say 22 years there, and then I was really pally. It's become one of my best mates now. But I was really pally at the time with Jonathan Booth, who was the director at Arbroath. And I'd always kept in touch with Mike Caird, who was the chairman. And it was a throwaway comment one day where I'd said to Johnny, "Oh, you need to get me up there because we'd played them." And Johnny had said, "Well, you're up for it," and I was like, "Well," I said, I hadn't really given it much thought to stay in football, and I didn't think, and then I went and said, "Well, let's talk." So myself, Mike, and Johnny met, and I told them what I thought I could do for Arbroath and what they were wanting to do with the club, and it sounded amazing. And Arbroath was a club that was always like close to my heart because I'd been there as a kid. The town, the people, and all the rest of it are just amazing. And I got I got kind of excited the minute I'd spoke to the guys about it and thought what I could do. And that was 2 years ago now. And getting the opportunity to go in, I just fell back in love with the game, and particularly having that sort of buzz about doing again something positive for a team I love. And yeah, like the rest history. I've been there now 2 years, and um, never regretted it 1 minute, not 1 second. Never regretted leaving. And a lot of people did say to me, and "Oh, Paul Reid's leaving Dundee United to go to Arbroath." What within 4 or 5 months, we were in a whisker from taking Arbroath to the Premier League, which had nothing to do with me, but it just showed you the potential of what we were building at Arbroath, and we're still continuing to build. I could be here till this time tomorrow telling you the positive things about the club, the people, the supporters, the people inside Arbroath, directors, staff, the friends that I've made there as well. Like since I've been there, like it's just I've had a lot of times in my life where I felt there's been like times where it's just like I feel like it's big dark times and you'll be on your own and things like that. But getting the people that I've made friends with there and that as well, it's just been like giving me such a new lease of life that I probably was missing, and that's through no fault of anybody who owned a few years ago. But I just felt that it probably exhausted what I was able to do at United. I've come there and just met so many people that I've got as friends for life now, and people that I would trust my life with, and being able to enjoy what you're doing and feel passionate about it and just get that sort of mojo back. And I've got that now up at Arbroath.
And you say you've been there 2 years now. You've seen in the 2 years that you've been there, in terms of like on the pitch, you must
Yeah,
have had highs higher than nothing on earth,
it's been
and
ever.
then
Yeah, I mean the season we came in, I came in and the club that going into Kilmarnock that night, knowing that if we'd win, the chances are we had to beat Morton the last day of the season, but as it was, we won 5-0 or 4-0. But if we beat Kilmarnock that day, we're in the Premier League. But it wasn't so much the day of the game; it was the build up. And the whole thing about what I wanted to do with Arbroath was it was all about being a community club and about us trying to take the community with us on the journey, and still is on this journey that we're on. So myself and Joy went around all the primary schools, and the kids had drawn good luck messages and things, and we got them put up in the dressing room down at Kilmarnock for the boys to see, you know, and it was like drawing pictures and that, and that was, you know, everything we touched that season turned to gold. It was just like unbelievable. We were winning most weeks, you know, and Dick was always it was always about what Dick was saying. Let's get to 40 points, and you got to 40 points. And like, Dick, now we need to. We know we're not going to be relegated now, even though we were sitting second top of the league. They would go into the next thing. They were dreaming, then all of a sudden Dick just lifted the lid. Right, let's go for it. Bang, we went for it, and it was unbelievable. And then and like, listen, we unfortunately just fell that one hurdle to go, but the engagement, and the club's still feeling the benefits of what we did that year. The engagement, and that was the big thing for us. The engagement of what we did in the town and around with the people, and that I'll never forget that, you know. And I hope we all do it. I go in every day working to try and get these days back again. And if we can do that, then hopefully we can, you know, more generations can enjoy what we're doing. Last season was a bit more, you know, of a struggle than the season that we had before. But again, the objective was always stay in the league, and we did that. But you're not going to have it easy every season. So, and again, with that, your experiences you picked on, you've got to use the experiences against, you know, the harsh realities that you're going to face. And we've done that, you know. So, and again, we'll do it again this season.
Yeah, so it's been a wee bit more of a tricky season for you this year.
Yeah, you know, and it probably is, you know, being the only part-time team in the league is very difficult for the main reasons. Obviously, every other team's training every day, and we're training twice a week. But we're in a position where, you know, there's, as fitness-wise, we're as fit as the rest of the guys. So, you know, that's not the question. But probably the biggest issue we've got is trying to attract players to play part-time when there's a full-time job at another club somewhere else, and we're having to go toe to toe with teams like ourselves. Will go toe to toe to sign a player with like Inverness or Morton or Arbroath United, and they'll go there because of maybe the chance that I'm going to get to play full time against that. So again, we've got to, as a club, try and work to sell Arbroath as a town, as a club, to get players to sign, and you know, and it becomes tougher, but it's that's what I'm there to do, and I love doing it, you know, to try and help the managers sell the club to join.
Yeah, and obviously having a long-term manager like Dick Campbell as well, obviously departing the club, that must have been quite difficult.
Yeah, again, like that, he's my mate, and it's like what I said to you before, like Jim McLean, you know, it's Jim. Dick was one of the main factors again with why I wanted to go to Arbroath, because I wanted to be with him and work with him every day. And yeah, it was a really sad time, you know, when he did have to, when he did obviously resign and things. I understand the reasons for it, you know. But he's still a guy I speak to every week and things like that, and that'll never change, you know. So the job he did for the club and for me when I was there, I'll never, you know, forget it, and I can't thank him enough. And I just wish him well, and hope that he goes on to sprinkle more magic with another club that he did with Arbroath.
Yeah, no, definitely. You've also got a well-experienced manager now in Jim McIntyre as well, who's been around the block a few times.
Yeah, Mac is, again, I worked with him for 5 years at United. So
I was going to ask you that. Did you work with him at United?
Yeah. So again, with that, as a player, very, very well respected around the club, not just in the dressing room, but up the stairs as well. Really good pro, looks after himself, and he's carried that into his management. You know, he's a very so when we interviewed him, and he got the job, I was really excited to work with him. Same way I'd given 110% to Dick. Right straight away, spoke to him and said to him, look, you know, we've known each other a long time. You know what I can do. I know what you can do. So I'm here for you, whatever you need. And, you know, Jim's come in, and again, just had a great reaction on everyone at the club, and it's a huge asset to the football club. And I just feel sorry for him. He's come in such a hard time with so many injuries. You see it just now, like goalies scoring, some goalies scoring goals and like
30 yarders.
yeah, and he had to wait until the window opened. But I'm sure now that the window's opened and things, you'll be able to get guys in, and we'll start being able to see the fruits of the labours that he's putting already, because he's working tirelessly. He's on the phone to me a lot through the week, and I enjoy that. I always, he phones me, he's looking for me to do this and do that. And again, it's what I said to you before about United, being able to help him any way I can to try and help. But yeah, he's been a guy that I've known a long time. Kept in touch with him when he was over at Dundee and that as well. Used to see him in the street and speak to him and that as well, and kept in touch with him. So I'm delighted to be working with him again.
Yeah, no, and that's it. We're recording this in the second week of January. I'm guessing you're going to have a busy January. You think? If you still got Nick Colgan's number as well?
I Derek would have something to say if it was like Derek Garson's at Soots. I have again, life experiences. I repeat, do not get involved in player transfers.
No, that's brilliant. So what's the plan, obviously, for Arbroath going over, say, the next 5-10 years? What's the sort of vision that you've got for Arbroath?
I mean, my vision, again with that, and saw the length of time I've spent at United, that's the type of thing that I want to try and create. I said I wasn't going to come into Arbroath as a short-term thing. I want to be here as long as the football club want me. I'm here, and first of all, my first interview I did with the Courier when I came in, I said straight away, first thing I want to see kids wearing Arbroath shirts rather than Man City and Arsenal and PSG and all the rest of it. And I didn't have to do a lot of work on that. That happened organically. Just kids started to wear them and that. And the biggest thing for me is I'm huge into the community side of the football club. I think that is the key area to get into as many people as we can, whether it's any walks of life, young, old, whatever. So for me, it's about really continuing that engagement with the town, trying to always make sure that the town are proud of the football club, but trying to make sure that the community feel as involved as they can as we move forward at the club. That's got to be the biggest, the main aim for me is just that inclusivity, that we're making sure that we take everyone on the journey as much as we can, and if we can continue doing that and have the turnstiles, going full tilt on a Saturday, get as many people down to Gayfield to watch the game. I'm now trying to flex our muscles more out into the wider community, down to Carnoustie and things, because that's you don't have to be from Arbroath to support Arbroath. There's a lot of supporters down in Carnoustie, so we're trying to make sure that we're getting them as involved. We're engaging with the high schools, and we've put together a youth board from each 3 kids from each of the high schools. So they're on a youth board with me now, and they come. They're like my foot soldiers. They're out there helping me. What are the kids looking for when they come to Gayfield? Whether it be selection in the kiosks, what the kits look like, whatever. What's the music like on a match day? All these sort of things. So it's about making sure that we can get as many people supporting Arbroath as we can.
Yeah, no, definitely. So obviously you're kind of moving away from the football now. You've kind of started a wee bit of a side project, with myself, Soots, who we've just mentioned, Alan Soutar. Alan's been on my channel before, so viewers of my channel will probably be quite familiar with him anyway. So how did that come about? Obviously I know the story, but how did that sort of come about that you started these Bullseye shows that I've sort of been talking about?
Yeah, I've always said, right, and I'll say it now, the only job I'll ever leave Arbroath for is if I get John McDonnell's job on the PDC, right? I'll put that out there now, right? I love darts, and I love the whole atmosphere, and I've always been into darts, and it's just that it's a brilliant sport. It's on the up, as we've seen recently with the Worlds and things. So when I came into Arbroath, the first couple, it was only about the first 2 or 3 days, I looked and I saw that we had these ambassadors at the club, and there was Dan Burnett, who'd done amazingly with the Bulls. There was Ewan from the golf, Ewan Murray. There was and then there was also Johnny O'Mara. So there was like three ambassadors there, and I said to Johnny at the time, "Why is Alan Soutar not in this?" And I don't know. And so picked up the phone to him. Now I'd met Alan, and we've talked about this, but I'd met Alan 20 years previous to this, before in another life, but obviously didn't remember each other that. But we picked up the phone to them, and the minute I spoke to Soots on the phone and we asked him about being an ambassador, I never met him before properly to talk about it. I just spoke on the phone, and I just immediately the two of us just kind of hit it off and then we brought him in and we made him the ambassador. And from the minute we made him the ambassador of the club, he just embraced it the same as the other guys had. Really wanted to do what he could for the club. I knew him, what he'd done in terms of the darts and things, but Soots, as you know, and you spoke about it on your show before him, is Soots has got the other side to his life where, he's served for his country in wars. He's a firefighter and he does the guide dogs, and there's all these things. And he's just a really, really, away from the darts, just as a person, he's just a really, really brilliant guy, interesting guy, and a guy that you want to be around in that. So we met up in maybe about 3 or 4 weeks after he'd been appointed, and I'd said, oh, what would be the possibility of maybe, us doing like a show just before, because he'd already qualified for the Worlds. It was his first year down at Ali Pali, and said, well, what would be the chances of us, as a club, doing an exhibition for you to then send you on your way? Well, what as a club say, you're going to be at the World Championships. As many people from Arbroath want to come along and show you what you mean to the town and do it. So we did it, and it went great. And it was I did a wee bit and things like that. So that year, Soots then just his profile just exploded. He got up to and he was away in the sort of 40s of the world at that point. And it was coming towards I'm going to Alec Pally the second year, and we said to him there, they said, look, do you want to come back and do an exhibition? But I'd been in my head thinking, after the first time I'd done it, and we spoke about it, but we'd had a beer one night and we'd actually talked about it, and said, look, I've got a couple of ideas about doing a different type of exhibition, because we'd all been to the same type. You've been to them, Ross, you know the type of exhibitions we go to, and they're very sort of, they're all the same, But I said, well, why don't we meet and discuss it? I've got this idea about doing Bullseye. I'd made the boards myself because I have a bar in my garden. Why don't we? So we discussed it, and Soots was like straight away. He was like, "Oh, that sounds like brilliant." He said, "I'll do some of the voices, the comedy, and that." So we put together a sort of rough format, and you were there. So from what it is now, it was very much in its infancy at that point. It was very, we ended up then putting together a rough sort of idea of what we were going to do, put it out there, and people just like loved it on the night. It just went better than anyone could have thought. And then after that happened, he went to the Worlds and again did unbelievable, and he was now into 32nd in the world. His profile, the attention on him, everyone was wanting a piece of him to do stuff. So we said, why don't we come up and try and take this to as an actual show. So we put together a rough idea of what we were going to do, and we did our first gig, and you were there, and we got it where we thought this is good. And again with that, after we'd finished that night, people were coming to us, how do you book you, how do we do that? So we then got the Facebook page. We then put together more where we thought, we'll do it with costumes and all the rest of it. So me as Jimbo, and we got that dressed up. We've made a bully costume with the mask and things. with people dressed up as that. So it's really interactive. It's very, you know, like people are able to become Peter Wright for the night, become Van Gerwen for the night, become Soots. We've even got Bobby George now. All of it, you know what I mean? It's just growing and growing and growing. And the two, you know, I've done after the circuit for so long that I kind of got bored of listening to myself. And this is just a new thing that the two of us are doing. And we can't do it every week because Soots has got huge commitments with either the Fireys or he's got it with the PDC, and I've still got commitments with Arbroath and that. But you know, we've got maybe 12, 13, 14 dates in the first half of the year, and they're just going like that because people are wanting us, and it's just snowballed. We're coming to you over Oban and things like that. So it's not just confined to like this area. It's like we're up in Aberdeen, we're down in Edinburgh at the end of the month, but it's just something completely different to what anyone else is doing, and we found a niche sort of in the market for doing it. And but again, it's what I said to you before. Me and Soots have surrounded ourselves with the right people. You, Norman, Scott, all these guys that come in and help us, you know, and we're creating something really, really special, and it's giving people a good night out. And that's probably been my ethos for life, but it's been commercial and that. It's just about, you know, putting a smile on people's faces. If you can do that, then perfect.
Yeah, no, it's actually a bit of a, when you asked me to kind of get involved, and I was quite taken aback that you'd asked me to do it. And obviously, the first time I met you was at the first Soots exhibition that we done at Gayfield. I think you were only just in at Arbroath at that point.
Yeah.
And I knew Soots obviously at that point, and then I say, have you met Paul? And then I spoke to you. Never really heard from each other for the whole year, and then you done the Bullseye thing, and then we kind of got pushed on from that. And we did the show in Brechin.
But again, it's what I said to you there. You're a perfect example of that. It's about surrounding yourself. Like when I in my day job, and that, I don't. If I've got an interview like for a job, and I bring people in for an interview, the CVs mean very little to me. I can tell in 5 seconds, 5 minutes, if somebody in front of me is the right person that I want to work with, and if I trust them and do that. And that's the same in what me and Soots have done. We've got a team now of guys, and we go away together, and we stay over, and we've done, you know, a lot of gigs already like that. We do it with, and we trust each other, and that has to work for it to work on stage, you know. And Soots is a guy, again, like I said to you there, that already, you know, I trust with my life now. I trust him 1,000,000% because the person that he is, and the heart that, you know, he happens to be a bloody good darts player on the back of that as well. But even if he didn't have the darts, he's the type of guy I'd be mates with because you surround yourself with the right people.
Yeah, and I think we've obviously got so much planned for 2024. We're going to Gilmerton at the end of the month. There's a plug for the Gilmerton show, so we're doing that. We've got shows over by me in Oban, and the first ever exhibition, the Isle of Mull, coming up as well, just in May. So it's exciting times.
I'm not standing still either. We're adding to the, you know, I was on holiday on a cruise in October, and there was entertainment on that night, and I'm texting Soots on the boat, basically saying, "Oh, by the way, wait, what do you think of this as an idea?" And we've brought it back. Things we've taken from there, and we've brought that back, and we've introduced that into the show. And it's, you know, we're on our feet for 5 hours, for 6 hours, you know, some nights 6 hours, you know, start at 6 with the VIP, and it's like 12 o'clock, but it's, you don't feel like you're on your feet for that length of time because you're enjoying yourself so much. And if you're enjoying yourself, you're emitting that out to the crowd, and that's what makes it such a brilliant night, you know. And some of the laughs we've had already with it, you know. And even we did a gig before Christmas there, a guy in the front row came up to us during the night, and he's like, he says, "Do you know that my dad was the first ever contestant on Bullseye on Series 1?" And we were like, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, it was my dad and my brother." He says, my dad died last year, and we actually were clearing his house out, and in his garage was the fridge freezer that you won in Bullseye." You know, and it's like stories like that. It's just like, wow, isn't it like that?
That thing would be worth a fortune now.
I know, first ever fridge freezer. But that's what, you know, some of the stories and some of the laughs we've had doing it so far, and you just want it to continue. I mean, obviously, big man's over in America just now, and the crowds out there can't get enough of him, because when you see him on the night, he's a people person, and is the time he takes for all the punters, and even at the end of the night when you're just trying to get tidied up and that, he's still wanting to go out there and meet them and do the photos and that, and that's what makes it different as well. He's just like the type of person that you would trust with your life, and he's, you're seeing that even like that. The Americans are lapping him up. That him and Ricky Evans are going down a storm out in America just now, and just hopefully when he comes back here, he's ready for Gilmerton after being in New York and Chicago.
That's it. That's it. No, definitely. Aye, that's it. I know it'll be a wee bit of a change of scenery anyway. That's for sure. But no, it's quite good. What I'll do is I'll link some of the shows that the upcoming shows that we're doing just in the comment section of this. Or
and again, if you're looking at booking anything as well, if you go on our Facebook page and there's videos where you can see it happening and what we do and that as well. And we're even now branching into the market. It's not just about that. We've actually been in team building, so we're lucky enough. We're down doing Hearts, down at their training base down at Herrick Walk. We're down there doing a team building day where the Hearts players got to play Soots. The Hearts players loved it, and it was a good day taking them out of their comfort zone. Stephen Kingersley is a player, by the way, very good player. Xander Clark's no bad either. A few of them are actually no bad at the darts. And from that, we'll possibly now wait to do Scotland, one of their team meetings. We're going to be going to the hotel when they're and doing Scotland. Northern Ireland have been asking about us as well. So we're branched out at different things, for like team building days as well. Darts is one of these things. Anyone can sort of pick up darts and play and enjoy it. You don't have to be hitting 9 darts all the time, just enjoy it. Get the darts out and have fun.
And that's the thing, and who hasn't seen Bullseye as well? So 2024, we've got a pretty packed schedule. There's obviously dates been announced already, but there's a lot that we've got kind of penciled in at the moment that we're going to be announcing fairly soon. Myself, I stay in the Argyll and Butte area, so I'm doing the open shows. And as I say,
I've never been there, and you and Soots and I've told us what it's like, and I just I've obviously seen the videos from when you've had Soots and Robert and all that going up there and seen the boys and that, and I can't wait to get amongst the audience. You know what I'm like. I mean, I'm just a winged up merchant, anything sort of I'd let and jump on. So I can't wait to come up there and see the boys.
Yeah, well, that's it. You've been all around the country doing after dinner speaking, and you've never been to Oban. I find that amazing.
Never been to Oban. Can't wait. Honestly, can't wait.
Yeah. Have you been to Mull?
Never been. No.
Oh well, there we go.
I've never. That's what we're saying. I can't believe I've not actually been there with all the speaking and that. I've been on as far up as probably Helensburgh is the furthest I've been up in that area. But other than that, not ever been. So
no, exciting times.
Yeah.
Right, no, perfect. So we'll link all that stuff down below. Finally, Paul, just before we go, I'll fire you a few quick fire questions. I can't let you go without doing some comedy impressions.
Okay.
So if I ask you the question, right, and then you can answer it in the impression, give me a chance, and I'll see if I can try and guess who the impression is. So we'll start with your best friend that you've ever met through football.
Oh, Poud, fantastic, absolutely, no doubt about that. It's got to be, Sean Dillon. Absolutely terrific, magnificent player, no doubt about that.
Alex Ferguson.
Arbroath boy. I shot Sean definitely. I get I don't even have to think about that. 22 years at United, and 10 of them were with him, and he's still one of my best pals to this day. And I don't probably speak to him enough as I should do, but because he's with Montrose. But that's another story. But hands down, I don't even have to think about it. Best guy I've met. I went over to Dublin at his wedding, love him to bits, and as I said, it's another guy you trust with your life.
Yeah, is Sean still playing?
Yeah. I think he's 103 now. He's still, to be fair, he probably will still be playing at 103 now. He's still playing. Super fit, doesn't drink, just a fitness fanatic. He's got a gym in his garden, in his garage, you know, and just looks after himself, and just a workhorse, but still looks the same as he did when he signed for United in 2008.
No, that's it. Aye. So best footballer in terms of ability that you've ever worked with.
Yeah, I mean, I got to say, yeah, I mean, I think Charlie Miller has to be the one. You know, Charlie was fantastic as a player and as a guy. You know, he's a fantastic guy, and yeah, I see him.
That's great. That's Andy Murray. That is absolutely fantastic.
Did you know who the first one was?
Yeah, Alex Ferguson.
Oh, yeah. I think yeah, Charlie was like, but again, when you signed him, it's like, wow, he signed from Watford. He single he didn't single-handedly, but he was a major factor in United staying up the season he joined, because we were looking down a barrel that day. But ability-wise, ridiculous what he could do with football. I used to go on a lot of nights out with Charlie and that, and because I stayed in Carnoustie and he stayed in Broughty Ferry, come up from Dundee, so he used to get in the same taxi on home, and Charlie was known amongst all the taxi drivers in Dundee as Spider-Man by all the taxi drivers. And the reason he got called that was because when he used to get dropped off, his wife had locked him out of the house, and when the car was driving away, you used to see him trying to climb up the wall to get in the window. So that's what you used to get called that. So, another quick one with Charlie was Beckham's goal he scored from the halfway line.
Mm-hmm.
He was wearing Charlie's boots that day.
Aye?
Yeah, so Beckham just signed with Adidas. Didn't have time to give him boots. But Charlie already had a boot deal with Adidas for Rangers. So they gave Beckham Charlie's boots that he had made for him, and Beckham scored the goal from halfway line. So
there we go. Yeah, brilliant. No, that's it. So what would you say is the best character in football, you would say, that in terms of like in the dressing room, just an absolute screwball?
Well, I think there's some good, characters in the game. There's some really, really good players. For me, a character that I really, really enjoyed was Bobby Lynn. I thought he's a very good guy.
Craig Levine as well, and he's doing very, very well at St Johnstone too.
He's doing very well. Yeah. I wouldn't say Bobby's a screwball. He's not, but he's just a great character. When I first started at Arbroath, he was the first guy that kind of came up and spoke to me and things. And again with that, but funny guy. He's able to. He's a really good personality around the dressing room, and he's just an all round good guy, great cat. And it's the character that he is, and you see that with how many fans when he left and he had his testimonial came out to support him for it. So for that you need character, and he had it.
Perfect. No, it's good to. Yeah, again, a bit of a legend at Arbroath as well. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So favorite film of all time.
Favorite film. I'm actually thinking how to do his impression now. I should be actually thinking about I'm actually thinking about my favourite film.
Obviously, obviously, some great teams. My favourite film has to be Coming to America or Munich.
I could understand the impression, but I don't know what film you.
I'm Coming to America. Hands down.
Paul Reid, absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
Really appreciate your time coming on. Obviously, we'll see a lot of each other going forward, and
I'm looking forward to it.
No,
I'm just waiting. I'm missing my pal Soots at the moment because he's away hobnobbing in America at the moment. So it's like Annan with deck at the moment. So when I get him back, I'll be fine. That's and we'll be good to go. But yeah, looking forward to doing a lot with you, Ross. So
yeah, no, it's good. No, well, thanks for your time, Paul. I really appreciate it. Hope everybody's enjoyed it. We'll see if we can try and keep this YouTube channel going this time and get a few more interviews on, and we'll be putting some dark stuff up there, and some
Yeah.
football stuff as well. So no, as I said, once again, thanks
mate.
Paul for your time, and
Thank
cheers
you.
for watching, everybody. Cheers.
Thank you.